All right, it's quarter after. Let's get this thing on the road. Hey everybody, this is Lithu, and we are live. We should be. Let me check. We are, in fact, live. And today I've got some questions from primarily the Obsidian Discord that are about Obsidian CSS. So we're going to go through those and get some answers. So with that, let's move this screen over so that you can see what we're doing. All right. So first question on the list is from, I believe this is from Klaus, yes, who wants to know, let's see, to change the color of the note spines. This snippet has been used, but it only applies to light mode. However, if you add .theme light, it doesn't work. Is there a way to make light mode only applicable? This is one that actually was answered in the Discord, but I wanted to highlight it and explain why this wasn't working and why what was suggested actually did work to CSS. So let's take this snippet here and copy that, and let's go over to VS Code. Let's see. Let's just do a new file here, and let's save it as a CSS. Yeah, looks good here. We'll do stream.css. And my Steam is going off, so we'll close that out. Okay, so let's paste this in here so we get some formatting. Now, VS Code is a fantastic tool to use for this because it'll tell you if you mouse over something what it does. So if I mouse over this up here, it'll tell me, okay, this is what's being selected. So it's looking for an element of any class. And actually, I think I can zoom this in. Oh, let's try that. Make it bigger, easier to see. So element, so it can be any element that has a class of theme-light. And then under that, any child or descendant of that is the body with the class equal to plugin sliding panes. And then a descendant of that is a view header. Now, the problem with this, why this isn't working, is that the element that has the theme light class is the body. And so the body is not a descendant of itself. There's not two body elements, it's just one. And if we go over to Obsidian and we Control-Shift-I to open up our developer code, you'll see, so you have this head here and then the body, and everything is in the body. And you'll see here, now for me it's theme dark because I'm using dark theme. So there's the class theme dark, and then the theme is frameless, and the theme mod windows. So these are all in there. And if I had a plugin, it would also be in there. If I had this plugin sliding panes, it would also be there. So in order to fix that, what we did is you add, instead of a space, what the space is determining a descendant. So if you just space, so this dot theme light, there's nothing before the dot. So if you typed in, say, div dot theme light, now it'll say, okay, I'm looking for not any element, specifically a div element, just like it is here, the body element with the class. So if you did body.themeLight with no space, dot plugin, now you'll see the body with both theme light and the theme plugin sliding panes, then view header as a child of that. And that is what worked for making that actually change the background color for the, yeah, this was Klaus that asked me that. So the space can be incredibly important. The side note, if you're doing this kind of thing, a space will indicate any descendant. So you'll see here there's this, there we go, this dot 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 here. That means there can be any number of elements in between this. It's not a direct child, it's just a descendant. If you want an immediate descendant, you can use the greater than symbol. And so now you'll see, and this is why I love VS Code, because you can just mouse over it and it'll tell you exactly what it is. The element has to be the immediate child of the body. There's nothing in between. And this, of course, would not work because the view header is a few tiers in, I believe. So that's where you'd use the space. So that is question one. I wanted to highlight that so that people can kind of see why that works when you're dealing with theme light. Next question was another one from Klaus. In the left-hand pane, I have managed to change the background color to a light blue except for the top strip with 3 tabs, and has tried this code. Okay, so, and I sent him a message saying, yeah, that's not easily to explain via typing it out. So I'm going to save it for when I can explain in video. So we'll do that. So the header, what he's talking about is this up here. He has 3 folders. What else would you have up there? Explorer, search, and oh, favorites. I don't have favorites installed. Let me do, I believe that's a core plugin. Oh, that's starred. Yeah. So if I highlight that, yeah. So now you have starred. And you know, can I star the current file? There we go. Now you have something in there. So what he's trying to do is change this bar up here. And let me see if I can kind of make this a little bigger. My text is going to get a little bit crazy here, but so these tabs here, this black bar where that's at right there. Now the problem that he's running into is there's actually several layers. It doesn't look like it, but there are multiple layers. And this, the header container is actually behind all of them. And you can't see it because there's all of these other elements that are stacked on top of it. So it is changing color, it's just not visible because it's behind everything else. So if we go over to our developer tools here and we grab this, you'll see what I mean. So you have this icon here, and it's in a container, and this one's in a container. And if you go down here, you have this after active, and then you have this one that's the inner, and then you have the container. So if I go to the container, you're in a workspace tab. So that's kind of your parent object for this whole area. And then inside that, you have the header container. And inside the container is a before, an inner, and an after, which is also after active. If I select this middle one as active, you'll see all of these switch in. So you have before, inner, and after. And the before element is kind of this space that moves everything a little bit to the right. So you'll notice like same thing down here. This doesn't start all the way at the left line. It's got a little bit of padding there. And if I can zoom in super far, actually I can do this. Magnifier. Haha. So let's just zoom this in real far. Oh, right, like this. So you'll see how it's kind of angled here. You cannot see that, can you? Yeah, it should work. So there we go. So you've got this curved line and it's not a square. That's actually this little corner is a separate element. Where's my magnifier so I can go back and zoom out? There we go. So this other element is its own separate element, and I'll show you where those are. So if you go to here, this is your inner. This is where all your buttons are. And inside there you have is before active. Now if I select this, you'll see it's square up there in the left. The blue area is square, and you can I just make this really huge for a second? There we go. So you'll see how it's got this. It's really hard to see probably on the stream, but there's in the lower right corner, you'll see this little tiny sliver right here where it's curved, but this element is square. And this one is also square, and this is easier to see. And off the two sides are the little round transition little squares, and that's what's getting in the way of you being able to see something. So let's load up. Let's make this a little bit manageable of a size here, and we can kind of move this over a little bit. And let's load up VS Code. So I have this CSS that's saved in the snippet, so we'll get rid of that. And let's just turn that snippet on and start making some changes. If you color them different colors, it becomes easier to see, and I find that that's helpful when I'm working with any kind of CSS. So let's do stream snippet. Now there's nothing in there, so it won't do anything quite yet. But let's take this. So we want the workspace tab header container. We're in theme light, which won't do anything for us because I'm using theme dark. So you can add that into anything that we make. So this will change this color that's behind. And let me look at what he was trying to color. Okay, yeah. So he was getting this color white, but it's it's still not coloring what he wants it to color. Background color, that is the color he's going for. Okay. So let's color these a few different colors, a few different shades. So let's color this a dark blue, just for sake of seeing things. So I have this dark blue color. So this is your container up here. Now your before, if I look here, this color is going to be, we don't want color, we want background color. And I don't think it has a background color by default. I think it's just a, oh, here we go. Background color, oh, it has a transition property and that's it. So it's going to be invisible. So you can see if I highlight over this content, you can see right through to the blue area behind it. Now if it's, if I go over here, now you'll see, oh, now it's black. That's weird. And if I go over here, now there's a black area over here, and you might be going, what in the world is going on? Why is this stuff all changing? So if I select this, I have is before active is this tag right here. And what that is doing, if you go here, let's do the is before active, which is immediately inside the container. And this background color is black. So let's change that. And you'll see here the app is calling all of these. So you have the workspace tab container before is before active, workspace tab header inner, workspace tab header is before active, and workspace tab header inner. And you're like, that's a lot. So that's where your bottom border is. And then all of this, which is a giant amount of stuff. So let's see, we're going to put some line returns in here. So a comma is what allows you to select multiple things. And each one's just going to be on its own line. So if I come down here and I say, okay, I want to change all H1 elements, comma, H2 elements, comma, and paragraph elements with something, if I highlight over, it'll say don't use empty rule sets. So we'll just put something in here. Color is sure. It's selecting, okay, H1 and H2 and the paragraph elements all then have this color, Alice blue or whatever you put in there. So that's what the comma allows you to do. So up here we're saying this line, this line, this line, this line. So we're coloring 4 things. So this is the workspace tab container before is before active, and then the header inner inside that, and then the header inner inside after is after active, the before active tab header inner, and after active tab header inner. So it's the tab header inner always, and it's in these 4 locations. Is before is before active, after is after active, is before active, and is after active. So let me grab one of these, and you can start to see why I said, hey, this is kind of complicated. Let me make a video. So I'm going to do, we'll do background color, and we'll call this one dark cyan. So this is only one of those, and I'm coloring them a different color. So this dark cyan. So this is the before active. Now, this is my active pane, right? The one I have clicked is File Explorer. So if I click over here on starred, that will become my active. And now this is no longer active. This is not container before is before active. It's just container before. And that's why it's no longer that cyan. So if you come here, you see the is before active is down here, and the container before is up here, and it's just container before. There's no is before active. But if I click on this File Explorer again, you'll see all of this shift around, and now workspace tab container before is before active is what it's called. And on top of that, you'll see the header inner is the background color, but the color is this white. So let's do we'll say color equals this brown, sure. And that will make it easier to see. So anything in there will be colored brown, but there's no text in there yet. And you probably won't have any text. So then let's grab the next one. So this is the after is after active. So we'll copy that down here and make it its own rule so that we can call it a different color. Typing is fun. Background color is equal to, we'll say, dark green. And obviously you wouldn't do a theme with these colors, right? Because they're odd colors, but it allows you to see the distinctiveness. So you'll see the green down here. If I go to this, so this is the opposite. This is after and is after active. So if the last one is selected, now you get this green color. But if something else is selected, it's just after, and it has no color, and it'll do this straight jagged line. So all of this is done. You think, man, this is really complicated. The reason that it's complicated is you're trying to get this little lead transition to be curved instead of just a block that's built into Obsidian, and it only is on the active tab. So that this one doesn't have that rounded corner on the right unless it's selected, then it does, and that's why it has to switch everything around. So then the last two is, I just copied that, so we'll delete that. This one would take precedence because it's written later. So now we have is before active, and then is after active. So we'll do those as two separate items. Background color, dark, goldenrod, sure. And then this one we'll call dark magenta, sure. So now we have a host of colors. So now you'll see goldenrod is the is before active. So if this one's active, this one's before and it's that color. If this one's active, this one's now cold because it's before the active. And then this magenta is after the active. And so you can kind of see how they shift. So in order to color something, so the idea that Klaus is going for here is basically I want this blue or this light color that he's got, which is almost a white, behind everything except for these immediate tabs. And so the easiest way to do that would be to set them to the same color. And I believe he's trying to put this on top of a theme, which could cause conflicts. But so if I just undo all of this and put them back into one rule, there we go. So this will, you can copy and paste just like we did, and then you can put in whatever color you want. So if we also call this dark blue, now let's see what we get. So now this is the effect. And you'll see this little, let me zoom in a little bit. As I click, you'll see this momentarily flash a color. And you remember how I said there's a transition effect on this? Right down here. Transition property, background color. So we can find that by clicking here, I believe. There we go. And the transition color is the background color, which is originally black, which is why you didn't see it. And so if you wanted to change that, you would want to change this. So we could change this. You just copy this. Go back to our VS Code. Which is these 4 items, which is workspace tab header, header inner, tab container before, tab container after. And we want the transition background color. It's a 200 millisecond. You'd say, I want that to be red. And now, sorry, you have to say what you're transitioning. Background color is transitioning. Well, and then you'll want your and it's easing out, so it'll ease to whatever's behind it. And so you'd want to change that, which would be down behind it, which would be above the container, which would be your workspace tab, whatever your background color here is, which is black. So you'd change that. Honestly, I would just remove that. And I would say transition is equal to none. And then you'll be in business. And then you can switch them around however you like. The other thing you'll notice, which is one of those little tiny things that is very, very hard to see. If I zoom in even more, you'll see this little shoulder here. And that color behind there should be your container workspace. It should be your workspace tab. And if you want to, you can grab this little selector and hover over there. That is the nav header has the curve. And so it'd be what's behind that. So it'd be your, take that off, your workspace container, workspace tab. So let me grab my workspace tab background color. So if we made this something else, why did it not grab that whole thing? Copy pasting out of the developer tools can be sometimes hit and miss. Let's change this to red so it's very obvious. And now you have this little curve there is red. So if you wanted to make that the same as this blue, dark blue, then you would have that smooth shoulder there. If I go back here and I zoom back out to a reasonable amount, what color did the person want? Klaus wanted that color, so we'll copy paste that in there. Instead of this dark blue, and I'll post this and send it to him. it helps if you close things off in proper colors. Ta-da! And then there you have it. Now, he's using a light theme, so in order to do that, you would just put a body.theme light in front of each one of these. And I do mean each one. So down here, you would need one there, there, and then a space because you're dealing with descendants. So like that. Etc. Honestly, what I would do though is I would just define this as a variable, which would be best practice. So instead of punching in this number, you would assign a variable like this, dot theme dark, and in theme dark we'll say background 1 is equal to like this darkish gray, and then dot theme light, and this is how you'll see themes do it. You'll use the same variable, but you'll make it a lighter color. So let's move it up like that. And then what you do is your background color here, you just call that variable instead of punching in item. And what that allows you to do is you can go change it later, and it allows you to easier define it later. So now it'll always be that color. So if we save this, so now it's this dark gray, and then if I what is it, light theme, use light mode, now it's this lighter gray. And if I go back to dark mode, it's a darker gray, and it just auto toggles with your theme. So that's what I would suggest. So next question, edit font. This one was answered as well. The person figured it out, but I do want to touch on it. Hi everyone, I'm new to Obsidian. So welcome. Eager to start working with it, but I always use a fixed width font when editing Markdown. And this is a fixed width font would be something like monospace, where no matter what the letters are, they're all the same width. So if I zoom in on this, let's close this window and show you. So this font I'm using right now is not fixed width. It's a normal, what is it? This is a sans serif, I believe, yeah. So you'll look at an M, like this M in Markdown, you'll see how wide it is compared to, say, this R, and this R takes up only a little bit of space. Code blocks, on the other hand, default to monospace. So if you'll notice here, this W is a specific width, and this R takes up the same exact width. Whereas up here, if I had the word workspace, you'll see the W is huge width, R tiny width. And so fixed width fonts are, if I use a lot of W's and M's, the lines that it will take up per letter or per word is a lot more than with a fixed width font. So that's why this would be important to this person. Did I delete something? I think I deleted something. Yeah, we did that one. Oh, did I just... Oh, I skipped one. I'm sorry. I'll go back to that one. Hang on. That's what happened. Okay, but I always use fixed width fonts when editing Markdown. How can I change my edit pane font to a fixed width font already installed on Windows 10? Which this is also important, something that's already installed. You don't want to, this person doesn't want to have to go install new fonts, which is useful if you're switching computers a lot or you're running it on a portable media or anything. I looked onto Obsidian help, couldn't understand a word, I'm afraid. This person did eventually figure it out with some help from people in the Discord too. Let me call those people out because they were helping really well. I will comment. I want to say it was um, Obadiah and yeah, it was Obadiah Cruz and who else was helping? Someone there was another one. I believe it was way up here. Um, I think it was Kodamax, Maxime. Yeah, that's who it was. So thanks for being awesome community members and doing that. Uh, the and I wanted to talk about quick snippets because this is something that comes up. You get somebody who hasn't done a lot of uh, really anything with CSS or HTML. It's something new, and they're used to having a toggle just within the settings. So you'd go in here, and even in VS Code, which is a technical based thing, if I wanted to change the font, I can just go File and to Settings or Preferences, Settings, and I can just go Font, and this is zoomed in. Let me zoom out. And then I can just, yeah, like maybe I don't want that. This is that. I can say I want wingdings. I'm not going to do that though. You would just do like monospace, and then boom, now everything's monospace. That easy. And this is like a thing for coders. This is design. So the frustration of this person of like, why do I need to know a bunch of stuff to change this is a legitimate one. Um, and I know that some of the devs are working on that too, of having certain things like font and some of the other variables maybe being defined in the settings somewhere. However, it is still relatively simple if you know what you're doing. That's a big if, but that's why we're here, is to help people out. So a quick snippet is the best way to do this. So if you go into settings and appearances, you can scroll down to CSS snippets, and you won't have anything in here because I have random snippets in here. But you can click on this Open Snippets folder, and it'll take you to your snippets folder. I have a bunch of stuff in here. Yours will be blank. And just right click, new, and you want a text document, not rich text, just regular old text. And you give it a name. So we'll say stream 2, and then you'll delete the txt and name it CSS. It'll ask you, hey, are you sure you want to change this? Because you're changing the extension. You hit yes, and now you have this CSS. If you go back in here and hit this little reload button, then you now should have a stream 2, and then you can toggle it on. In the case of font, the easiest way to do font is to uh, redefine variables. This person wants a font only for edit mode, which the best way would be to do a snippet for the overall markdown preview view for preview and the code view, which would be, I believe, workspace leave content. Let me look. I have two of these open. So if you go here, main container workspace, you go down to your, those are your tabs. Oh, Obsidian's wigging out on me because I got a cursor blinking. So workspace leaf content, data type equals markdown. That's going to be the way to do it, because your other one is going to be mode equals preview, mode equals source. So you'd want mode equals source would be the easiest way to do that. So if you come back up into here, let's move this over here so you can see it. Oh, this is the you'll want to open stream.to. And I use VS Code, but you could easily do this in Notepad. I like VS Code because it'll autocomplete things for me, and I don't have to worry about my typos. So that's how that works. So if you wanted to change the entirety of the font, if you go down here, you'll have a root section, and here's your default font. So if you just grab this and copy paste that over here and redefine it, which I covered this in my last live stream as well. And you say, hey, want Wingdings as your default font. And now everything's in Wingdings. So don't do that. But if you want monospace, but that's going to affect both preview and edit mode. And so what this person is wanting is one or the other. And so in this context, what you'll want is the, let's see, data mode equals source. So we want a div with the class of workspace leaf content, and we want data mode equals source. And then what we can do is we can say their default font is, we'll do Wingdings for funsies. And if I mouse over this, let's see, data mode equals source, workspace leave content, like that. Data type markdown, data mode. Did I do data mode? Yeah, data mode equals source. And so if I come over here, it's still doing this. Uh-oh. Oh, they're both defined, that's why. Yeah, so you just do font. Is this enabled? It is enabled. So here you'll see this font is being overridden, so something else is more specific. You don't want to use important. Let's see, where is font being called? Because that will tell me. Let's do that, and we'll just try to make it more specific. There we go. Oh, okay. I went too far up. That's why. Where's my thing? There it is. So what I want is this is the source view. So we want dot markdown source view, which should give us what we want. I have this enabled, right? Ah. And we'll do monospace. And now it should be in here. Uh-oh. Oh, hang on. Do I have another snippet active? I think I might have another snippet active or something. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm just derping. It's not font, it's font family. There we go. I'm like, why is this not working? Yeah, font family is the keyword that you want, not font. Uh, so now I'm curious if the other one would have worked if I did this, but I did font. I knew I was doing something weird. Yeah, so either way would work. So you could do it that way as well. But we don't want wingdings, we want a monospace, and there you go. For edit mode, but your preview mode is fine. So either way would work. So there's that question with a fun derp tangent. Customized theme is the next question. Tanzias says, hey, I like the Obsidian Nord theme. However, I was wondering if anyone could help me. I want to have the hashtag not show up like in the Ubuntu theme. Basically, I want to have the look of Obsidian Nord, have both light and dark theme, but have these different colors. So customizing themes is and there's two questions here, and I copy and paste this one down here, having the hashtag not show up. So we'll actually do this the same person. So we'll separate these into two questions. So customizing colors and themes and then removing the hashtag. So basically these hashtags in an edit theme, and there's actually a forum thread for this that deals with what's called a clutter-free edit mode. And I believe I have that snippet already saved. Yeah, clutter. Um, I think I had most of it commented out. Yeah, I did. There we go. Let's uncomment all of these so that it looks normal. I think that's yeah, here we go. So basically taking these display lines out, adding a few back in. I'll copy paste there's a bunch of different options that you can do. Um, and what it does, uh-oh. Oh, optional header hashes. I don't want that in. So what it does is, unless you have the line as your active line, it gets rid of the hashtags. There's ones for like if you're doing bold, which is in there now. It'll bold the word, but it will get rid of the markings unless it's your active line. Highlights are the same, I believe. If you add the equals and then click off it, it gets rid of the formatting. So it's and you can go. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do there on the clutter-free edit mode. There's a link, and I think Klaus has a GitHub repository for you to just copy and paste it, and then you just select the stuff you want to get rid of and paste it into a snippet. That's pretty nice. So for right now, though, I want to disable that. Oh, and I skipped one. Edit mode, background. We did that one. Edit mode, customize theme. Uh-oh. Where was the one I skipped? Let me zoom out a little bit. Manage background color, did that one. Edit font, we did that one. Customize themes. Okay, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's how many I had. Okay, so that's how you would do the clean edit theme, the clutter-free edit mode. And I'll post a link to that in the comments. Uh, but more to the point of customizing a theme is a little bit more interesting. So if I go grab a theme, let's see, I have some installed. Oh, you wanted Ubuntu, right? Or you wanted to have Obsidian Nord, but with these colors, this orangish color. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Most of the themes use some pretty common um, variables for their colors, but it's not a universal standard. So you kind of have to be a little bit careful with that. Now, one way to do that would be to go settings and then go into your themes folder, find the theme you want, find the theme you want, uh, and open it up in code. And just start changing stuff. So this is Obsidianite, yeah. And here's fonts, customized tag colors, and they're kind of designed so that you can uh, change them around, and just move stuff around wherever you'd like. The problem with this is if the author updates anything else, it'll overwrite any changes you make. So that's kind of the difficult. So some themes will use variables for their colors, others don't. If that's a lot of important tags. Sorry, distraction. Uh, so here, this color, this variable text accent, and then if you go up to theme dark, find text accent, oh, that's this color here. And so what you can do is you can basically take the theme dark, and most themes are going to do this. They're going to have all their variables usually in theme dark, theme light, and root. So if you grab root, theme dark, and theme light. Now note, this is currently only dark theme, light theme is still a work in progress, so keep in mind that. Copy that and go into a fun little snippet. So let's use this stream 2. Paste this in here. We won't do light theme because that's not ready. And so here, if you're using this theme, this allows you to kind of customize the font. Default font size is 18. Font weight, which is your thickness, like how bold it is 450. The tag font family, the mono font is this one. So if you say, yeah, this mono, I don't like that mono font. I like just the good old mono space. You can do that. Let's change one of these colors so you can kind of see that. Background primary is this one. Let's change it to this blue. Text normal is this kind of grayish color. Let's make that a red. And so then if I go back to my Obsidian, which is here, well, now it's all red and blue and terrible. So that's how you would edit your colors. Let me undo those colors and get it back to somewhat normal. So if you wanted a one set of color in another one, you would look, so you wanted Nord theme, right? So you would go find that theme, which I don't think I have that one loaded up. You would find that theme and then get the colors. So this is, this is Obsidianite. I was editing the wrong one, that's why. Ubuntu is the one that's by default. So what I just did accidentally is I grabbed the Obsidianite dark theme colors, right? And I put them in a snippet so that they override the colors for the theme I currently have active, which is the Ubuntu. So normally, if I go in here, CSS snippet stream 2, so this is the Ubuntu colors, and then this is the Obsidianite colors. So I basically just applied the color of one theme to another. So that's how you would do that. And we'll leave these colors. These are kind of cool colors. So that's customizing themes and the clean edit. Snippet mechanics and naming conventions. So we've kind of covered a little bit about how to create snippets. The sorcerer asks, how would you name snippets? Any guides on this that I can reference? So let's do an example. So I have stream CSS and stream CSS2. So let's do, this is actually a really good example. So let's grab text normal. That would be a good one. And we'll put it in here under theme dark, and we'll make it something weird, like red. Now let's go back to Obsidian, and you'll notice nothing has changed, which is important. So I have stream and stream 2, both are enabled. So let's go over to here, and we'll look here and see some of the variables we have. So we have theme dark, and we're looking for text normal is this kind of grayish color, which is what it is. And if I keep scrolling down to here, you'll see I have another style element that has text normal as this red color that's crossed out. And the way that works is your snippets are executed in alphabetical order. So they are executed in the order that you see them here. So stream is going to come before stream 2. So that means that because I have something in stream 2 that's the same as stream 1, the one in stream 2 will take precedence. Just as if I go down here to this style, this is going to be the theme that's loaded, and you'll see all of these crossed out because I modified them. So the text normal is this one right here, and it's crossed out. So this is your theme file. This would be the stream CSS, which is also crossed out, and then stream 2 is going to give us text normal of this color. So you can, so the themes are executed first. If there's a snippet that will take precedence, it'll go first. But if there's two snippets, the one that is later in an alphabetical order will take precedence. So if you have a lot of snippets, not only does the order in which you put things in your snippet matter, but the order of your snippets also does matter if you have things that contradict. Now in this case, I should just go, oh, well, what color do I want? I shouldn't have like 5 different places where I'm trying to define a color. I should just have it in one. So I should just delete this. That would be the best practice method. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense on that. So you could name them however you want, and then if there's some weird conflict, you could look over here in your developer tools and see what's going on, and from that either change the order or delete something that's conflicting. So the snippets are basically the CSS code as individual edits to the currently selected theme separated into files for each edit. So this is clarification on the same issue, and MD Braber also asks, are CSS snippets supposed to override theme-based settings? And the answer is very much similar. Yes and no. So, and I'm doing a video on how CSS rules cascade because it's something that I think is best visualized. But if you have two items that are of the same specificity, so they're the same exact code like we see here, where both are theme dark and then text normal, right? They're the same specificity, then yes, the snippets will override the theme. And each is going to be an individual edit. However, if you have variance in specificity, one rule is more specific than the other, then the more specific rule will take place regardless of where it's at. Apply themes per file. Oliver's Marcius asks, would it be possible to have certain visual themes apply only to certain tagged files, backlinked files under specific folders, etc.? So yes and no. So It is a fantastic question. Some of this is going to be done with CSS. Some of it you cannot. So the developers have, if I go into edit mode, I was in edit mode, sorry, uh, have put in a thing called CSS class. So if you're in a file, you can put front matter with some dashes in here, and you can go CSS class is testing, something like that. Oh, and like that. Uh, and I think I had a couple of files that were already like that. Was it generic? No. Yeah, so here I have a CSS class page, and then I have certain CSS that was calling that. So if I go to this, so this is like the testing layout. Let's get rid of this theme because I don't think it'll play nice. Let's go back to just default. So this is how it would look like by default, except I have snippets enabled, so we'll turn those off. There we go. And I want to say it was test random 2 or test random 1. I think it was test random 1. So test random 1 was putting it like in a layout column, and I had a big letter, and my colors are messed up because I think my background broke. But that was the idea. This is which one again? Test random 1. So if I open that one up, I will show you how to call that. So test random 1. So that is not what I wanted to open. Did I click the wrong thing? And I had a bunch of stuff in here. I think I was just doing it by default, wasn't I? Yeah, I was. So that's not helpful. Sorry. So the way that this would show up is if you go to, where does it end up showing? I believe it's view content. So leaf space, tabs. Preview. I'm in preview mode, right? Yeah, I am. Okay. Data markdown, view header. View content. Let me widen this out just a little bit so I can see. What was my CSS? Is page. So let's just change this to something that's searchable. That wouldn't come up. Let's use the word headphones. Did they remove this, or am I running a different? Spell error. You know what? I'm going to have to look that up to see if they changed that, because the CSS class might have changed. and I'll get back to you on that because it used to be just CSS class would change your class and then you could reference it by CSS. So that's the short answer. I'll post a link on how to do that because it looks like it changed because that stuff happens. Where would that have been posted? I'm just doing a quick search on the Discord forum. And nothing is immediately coming up, so I'll do it later. But to answer your question in the short term, you can assign a page a class and then apply it to that page. As far as the other sections, like if something has backlinks or if something has specific folders, not yet. You can style folders here. I've got a video coming out about that, but there's not a way that you can do it. It wouldn't show up anywhere else. So like if you had the page here, it wouldn't display any different. Or if you were searching for it, it wouldn't show up any different. That's going to have to be either a plugin or built in to Obsidian at this point. Next question. Zelenza says, does anybody know how to move one of the note menu items out of the menu so it's always visible? For example, always show the pin icon. I've been messing around and all I've been able to do is manipulate the icons that are already visible. So the short answer is no, you cannot. However, there are some interesting workarounds that you might be able to do. So you can't edit this with CSS, and I'll kind of show you why. If I go to this selection and I go here, so you'll see this is a view action. So you can style what this more option button looks like, but it's just a box with an SVJ in it. Scalable vector graphics, I think, if I remember correctly, is what that stands for. So if you click on more options, you get this tab. And if I go to one of those, you'll see these, you have this menu and all of these menu items, a separator, and you're like, wow, if I could, and what this person has most likely tried doing is grabbing one of these items, doing maybe a position absolute and trying to move it up over here. But as soon as this menu disappears, all of those items are gone. You have the menu there, but then if you click off it, now you just have a script, a JavaScript. And so it's JavaScript that actually loads what's supposed to be in that menu. So you can't edit those with CSS unless they're already visible. So if you can change the color of them, this HR you could, make it invisible or thicker, whatever you wanted to do. You could color code these, all that kind of stuff, but they would only show up when you clicked the More Options button. So that's why you can't do that with CSS. Now, what you can do is all of these are commands such as star and unstar, and your pin will now show up if it's active. But again, that's controlled by JavaScript, and you can't do that by CSS. What you can do is in your settings, you can go to hotkeys and look for it. So pin, I currently have to Control Alt I. Yours would be, I don't think it's set by default. And so you can click Customize this command and then press a hotkey. So in my case, I want Control Alt I. And then I can hit Control Alt I and toggle the pin. And you could set that for all of these. So if there's one that you're using a lot, I would suggest just doing a key command for it. You could also then, if you had a mouse that did macros, you could have a separate mouse button that did it as well, something like that. So that's what I would suggest there. The plugin might be able to allow you to like grab one of these and drag it up, but that would either be, again, a plugin or a built-in function for Obsidian. And the last question is code block background colors. Grio asks, anyone know the CSS selector to customize the background color of inline code blocks? Inline code blocks. Okay. Well, let's go find out. Let's create an inline code block here. So this is an inline code block. And I believe the person is wanting that. So this is an inline code block, as opposed to like what is up here. This would be not inline. This is a full-on code block. So let's take a look. I'll grab our inspector here. Looks like CM inline code would be your selector. Let's see. And you're wanting to change background color. Right now your background color is this darker gray color by default, which is defined here. So let's just grab this whole shebang and take it over to VS Code and see what we get. Let's use the stream 2. So we have, so this is a element class CMS Obsidian followed by an inline code block that is not CM formatting, indented code, or a search match highlight. Okay, so this is, let's see, if you wanted all of those the same, so let's take a span.cm inline code. Let's just copy that real quick. And we want background color is dark red. Oh, that's because this is looking for a closing bracket. And then I'll just comment this out. So this is probably what you would try first, is just your inline code. Let's see what that does to our Obsidian. And I don't believe, because this is going to be more specific, so it should take precedence. Enable the snippet though. That would be a good idea. We wanted stream 2, I believe, what we had. And you'll see, yeah, it's being overridden by this one because it's more specific. Because this is saying not just any inline code, it's this specific code. And we could probably do this to make it more specific. See if that gets us, okay, it gets us a little bit further there. Wait, did I do color or background? I did background color, okay. But the internal code, CM inline code, Oh, I don't want the span though. I just want that. But again, it's not as specific as this. Oh, that is a span too, yeah. But yeah, this one's going to be more specific. So if you wanted to do that, uncomment this, and now you should have that a different color. That's going to be your inside section though. So your before and after formatting is going to be your CM formatting inline code like that. So this will do background color, dark red, or we could do dark blue as well. So now it's, which is probably the effect you're looking for, is the whole thing. Yeah, so that'll work. So your code blocks here would be one color, your inline would be a different one, would be this blue color. So yeah, this would be your, so this would be your, the background on your backticks. This would be the background of the code itself, like that. And I can copy paste that into the description if you want. Or I could just copy paste that here. Code block background colors, CSS. And then I'll do a commit tonight on GitHub and link to it. And you'll have it. So that's all the questions I had. Let me check Discord, see if there's anything else. I was thinking of a way to have multiple edit workspaces of Obsidian. Lithia is showing on stream right now in that he uses VS Code along Obsidian for editing, similar to the screenshot below for his stream today. Oh, just with the, yeah, and it's just a picture of what I have up on screen. Oh, nice. So it's being helpful for others. Fantastic. Someone has a reply. Thanks for doing this. I knew about the hotkey for pinning, and normally I'm very hotkey centric, but that specific action just felt like it should be a quick click. Yeah, I think that that's something that could be easily done, Zelenza, with a plugin or a, yeah, or built in, like being able to just like drag and drop. So that might be something that we can ask Silver Lycat. Thanks for doing these sessions. Your previous sessions was really awesome. Thanks. I'm gonna guess it's Vineet. If I butcher your name, I apologize. Uh, Erica Zoo says, "My eyes." I don't know what I was doing at that time. Probably when I switched to light mode would be my guess. That would be my guess. I think that's all the questions. Let me see if anybody posted in the Discord about our uh, in CS themes. Oh, there is a question. How do you get the graph to look like this? Not necessarily those colors, but change it from the default. Oh, okay. Can I copy this image? I sure can. And paste it right into Obsidian. So color coding the graph, if you go into graph view, I think by default it's like this. And if you grab like just in here, there's not going to be much in the way of CSS because this is like I believe it's a JavaScript applet, and it's a, I will have to find the selectors, but there are variables it calls on. And actually, what you can do, where's my sources? Let's go to source. Let's This is, by the way, the entirety of the CSS that the app uses. It's how many thousand lines? 6,000? Yeah. But luckily there's a, we can look at graph. So graph view color fill is one. Let's copy that and test it out, I suppose. Let's do that in, nope, not those. Graph view color fill, we'll make dark orange. Ooh, this olive green actually. Yeah. So that's your the fill. You'll have, let's see, graph view color fill. We have graph view color fill tag, which is the tags, right? So that would be your fill tag would be a one, and then you have theme light, theme dark, graph view color fill attachment. So yeah, attachments are this blue color. Let's close this side box so you can see better. So yeah, you have your normal uh, flags, which are green now because I changed it, and then tags are this orange color. Images and attachments are this blue, and that's how you change this. So, and you could change it. You have a theme light and a theme dark. Um, graph view color fill unresolved. Graph view color fill 1, fill 2, fill 3. They're all the same. So these would be the selectors you would use. Color circle, there's one probably for selecting highlight, highlight interactive. Yeah, so the fill highlight would be your, like if you're mousing over it, kind of what it does. The graph controls up here is going to be what you're going to use to, if you wanted to change this. By default, they use these variables, right? So if you changed, say, background primary alt to something, it would change that as well. So a lot of themes will just redefine these variables. So if you wanted this specifically to be something different than what your normal theme would be, that you could specifically do that, or you could just redefine background primary alt as something and it would change it everywhere. But if you wanted to change, say, the position, right now is, yeah, 8 pixels in from the top left. So if you wanted that on the right for some reason, based on your theme, you could do that. We could do that real quick as an example. Those are my themes. So if you wanted, oh, so graph controls are this. So let's say we wanted that on the right instead of the left. Yeah. You know, change your padding. Background color is, let's change it to purple. Minimum width, maximum width, you could change that. Border, you could say, hey, I want that to be 5 pixels or 4 or something. You can make it square instead of a rounded corner. Max height. Yeah, sure. What does this look like? Let's go figure that out. Yeah, now it's purple and it's super square and it's more on the, hang on, position left. Oh, because yeah, you're gonna have to go, because it's within its own thing. So you'd have to go left like 50%. And now it's in the middle. So like you do. Graph controls is closed. Like if you close it, there's a way to get it back, which I think I just, yeah, it's this little gear icon, which really blends in. Graph selection, controls input, settings, flex direction. Most of this stuff you wouldn't change because it would change how your actual graph view looks. Inline block, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't change most of this. You'd mostly change like this and the colors up here at the first. So let me do, let's see, view, theme dark, fill, and go down through there. Well, and is closed would probably be helpful. So that's where you'd probably end up being. do CSS. So those would be the ones you'd use. There is a forum post on that too. If I find it, I'll post it there. Oh, it's pinned to the CSS channel. Look at that. Yeah, theme dark graph view color arrow, graph fill tag. Yeah, so definitely do that on the Discord. Theme dark graph view color. Yeah, it's mostly right there too. So who said that? Who pointed that out? Give them credit. SIRVB, SIRVB, I believe would be how you would say that. So that's it for the stream. There's no more questions. I'm gonna try to do these once every other week, I would imagine, if there's demand for them. I'm going to be making some other more specific videos that we can link to over specific topics like the important tag and why you should try not to use it, or CSS specificity rules and how they work, because that's something that's easily visualized, as well as some generic CSS, HTML, Obsidian stuff. So stay tuned for that, and hope that you guys have a great fun day using Obsidian. And until then, cheers.